go again. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'm going to be providing a pre-debate analysis. I'll be providing a pre-election analysis right now, which is something I haven't even prepared for. I have a post-election analysis already typed up because I already know how this is going to go, and I'll be reading off that maybe, or at least paraphrasing it or something. Regardless, I haven't prepared for this at all, but I'm going to try to give my wisdom if I can. In fact, let me put my resources in front of me. I also can't read without my glasses. Alright, well, I'm going to put those away now. Okay, so I have my my final electoral tally at 307 and 231 in favor of Clinton. The reason I say that, from a purely mathematical approach or a statistical approach to this race, I already called it for Clinton on I did it on my personal Facebook, as if you would know about that. I did it on my personal Facebook about I think 2.5 weeks ago or so, roughly, and I pretty much called it already for Clinton. I think I had the tally at the time 323 to like whatever the rest was for Trump. Except I had at the time I had Evan McMullin, the independent candidate, winning Utah. I no longer think that's. I don't think that's going to happen. He polled really well at the time, but lately he's just. I don't know. He got a lot of media hype at the like whenever he started to make gains in Utah, and then he started to. I mean, after he beat Clinton and was about to beat Trump, like he got the peak of his attention, and then he lost all momentum going forward. So I do not think he's going to end up winning Utah. I do think Trump will probably pull out a win in Utah. Arizona was also in play at the time, but I had it going to Trump already, and I'm keeping that as the longer swing state, I don't think. Nevada, okay, we'll go to the three big ones in my analysis. It comes down to Nevada, North Carolina, and Florida. And that has been all over the place the past few days, really. I've been monitoring the polls almost every 2 or 3 hours. I've been refreshing 538, which is what I use for, odds and so on and so forth. I use Real Clear Politics just for individual polls. They usually have the best aggregates. And 271 to win is what I use to... Oh, I just hit my mic. 270 win is what I use for the map, and I actually use to calculate the numbers and stuff like that, just so I have a wide variety of options on the table. There's really no reason why I use 270 win. I just do. Regardless, I have her winning definitively of all what people have called swing states. Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. I do not see any circumstance under which he wins those 3 states. You can call my bluff, and it's not really bluff. I believe it. But if you can call bullshit tomorrow if you want at this time tomorrow, because it's currently 12:10, and so it's election day technically right now, and polls will be opening in 6 hours, actually less than that. So I never saw Minnesota, Wisconsin, or Michigan in play. They're too liberal. I mean, just to be honest, you got Milwaukee and Madison, Green Bay. He has a drama stint with Paul Ryan, who is the Speaker of the House and is from Wisconsin. Like, I don't know how you intended to get votes that way. No one really talked about that much in the major news networks, but I've always thought, like, if you're going to diss Paul Ryan, do you really expect to win Wisconsin as a result? Regardless, though, Minnesota, that is one of the most liberal states in the union, I would say. So I do not think he's going to be able to turn Minnesota. There are some, there's a lot of blue-collar workers and middle-class voters in Minnesota, so maybe he thought he could reap the benefits of that, but I don't see it. Michigan, Detroit, Ann Arbor, Grand Rapids, Flint. No, he's not going to win Michigan. Say, oh, he has a shot in Michigan. He's in Ann Arbor a lot. He's not going to win Michigan. Pennsylvania was never a swing state, in my opinion. She had that lockdown in June. Yeah, they've tightened a little bit, but she's still ahead. I mean, she's. It's not like she went down and then went back up. She just went from this to this. She's still ahead. So no, I see no victory path for Trump. And Virginia goes without saying. Tim Kaine's from Virginia. It's been fairly blue, pretty consistently blue for a while, not just for president, but for Senate, House. So if you're not bored already, let's get to the exciting states. I know, exciting states. One is Iowa. I think that's pretty locked down for Trump. I don't really see a victory path for Clinton, but I mean, there is margin for error in Iowa. It's leaning Trump, and I think it'll probably end up going Trump. But I don't see it turning. New Hampshire. New Hampshire has been in and out a little bit. I think it was red for a little while, but it wasn't red for that long. But the thing is that the Senate race, regardless, in New Hampshire has been really tight. So I think that'll be indicative of what to expect from New Hampshire. It might be more competitive than the polling suggests. That's the only reason I say that. But I think it'll probably end up going towards Clinton. For the most part, New Hampshire will remain blue. If the polling remains consistent. Then there's Ohio. Ohio was, at the beginning, it was a big swing state, and she was up for a short period of time, if I'm not mistaken, at the very beginning, and then he nailed down Ohio. I don't really know what he did there. I mean, I live close to Ohio. I've driven through Ohio fairly recently, actually. There are a lot of Trump signs. I drove up all up and down the western half of Ohio when I was visiting Cincinnati. I saw a lot of Trump signs. I think that's going to stay Trump. He appeals to the the machine factory workers, and there are a lot of them in Ohio. I don't really see much of a path for victory for her there. I mean, she's going to win Cleveland and the surrounding areas, more than likely Columbus, but I think he might actually pull out a pretty definitive victory in Cincinnati alone. I just don't see much of a path to victory for Clinton there. It started out really iffy, but now I think it's going to stay Trump. Okay, and then now we get down to the three big swing states I think will end up helping to decide this election. Nevada. Nevada has been back and forth, and it's been 50-50 on 538. Longer than I've ever seen a state be 50-50. It really could go either way. I mean, it's only, what is it? It's 6 electoral votes, so I don't think it'll have much of a factor, but I think it'll be indicative, because usually, I mean, Nevada has what? They've selected the President of the United States since the 20s, I think. Maybe I'm making that up. For a while, at least. And it's usually indicative of the rest of the nation. And I don't really know why, but usually Nevada is pretty indicative of how the election is going to turn out. And if she loses Nevada, she still has very much a path to victory, but I just think it shows something larger, that he might actually pull through. I think Nevada will just be a sign, if anything else. Then there's North Carolina. North Carolina has been the one that's been flipping the most recently. It's gone back and forth. I think right now Nate Silver has it blue, but I think it's going to stay red. I've been fighting with that for a while. I couldn't decide. That's the one I couldn't decide. Of all of them, that was the one I'm the least sure about. Even more so than New Hampshire. I'm just not sure where North Carolina is going to go, because that has been shifting for a while. I mean, it's a southern state, but it's got Charlotte, it's got Asheville, it's got Raleigh, a bunch of others. It's getting larger. It's one of the larger southern states in population, and usually that fares well for Democrats and liberals. So I think that's good, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Like, I think he might actually be able to pull a decent chunk of Democrats in North Carolina, and that may be enough for him. He might actually manage to. I think he will manage to keep North Carolina red from where it was a few days ago. Then we get down to Florida. Florida's always the big indication of everything. Usually people look at Florida, they're like, well, that's going to decide the election. I think it's going to go blue. It could go red. It's very possible, but I'm pretty sold on it going blue. I think the Latino population is going to pull through in Florida. I think the African American vote won't be that great, but I think it'll be enough to push them over the margin, or the margin. Would it be the threshold? I guess we'll call it a threshold. 50%. I think that's going to give her the majority in Florida. I just don't think he's going to be able to pull enough voters in Jacksonville and Tallahassee as much as she's going to be able to pull from Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and all of the cities towards the south, and even the rural areas towards the south, which probably incorporate a decent chunk of Hispanics as well. So I just don't think he's going to be able to. And I think Obama easing relations with Cuba has helped a lot in this election. I think it will end up benefiting her, because now I think Latinos are far more willing to vote Democrat, especially Cuban Latinos, but that's perhaps a stereotype. Okay, so we're just about done. If you were bored to tears already, I'll do a video on the Senate race, which will be a lot shorter, but this is just for the general election. But it's numbers, it's facts, it's statistics. It's my analysis. It's always supposed to be exciting. I think the election will end up, and this is really just for record. Like, the reason I'm doing this is for a record, to show you what I thought. Again, what is it? 12:21 a.m. on election day. What I thought was going to happen. I think Maine will end up, the one congressional district in Maine will end up going, I think it's the second congressional district, the largest congressional district in Maine, will end up going to Trump. So I think he'll pick up an electoral vote in Maine. I don't think that'll have any effect on anything. The only way that would have an effect on anything is if he wins Nevada, Florida, and New Hampshire as well. Then if he wins Maine, I think that puts him one electoral vote over. So if it comes down to that, then it matters, but otherwise, not really. And I'm not 100% sold on that, but from the polling I've seen, I think he's got a pretty good chance of winning that one congressional district in Maine. And Maine is the most conservative, I would say, even more so than New Hampshire, of New England. Perhaps I'm wrong. It's one or the other, but I think it goes to Maine. If you look at Paul LePage, I think that's pretty indicative of something. Not sure what. Anyway, so the reason it all comes down to this is even if he wins all of those, and the only scenario he wins... Okay. The reason I bring all of that up is because the only scenario in which he wins, there are only really two. And one is the one I just said, where one electoral vote over, and I don't think that's possible. But even if he wins North Carolina, Florida, and Nevada, which I think are the three most important swing states, he'd still have to turn one other state. And the only other two that are in play after that would be New Hampshire, which wouldn't be enough if he wins the one congressional district in Maine, then it would be enough. But it would either be New Hampshire, or it would be, I think the one that everyone would be looking at would be Colorado. I do not see him turning Colorado. It's not the most liberal state. It's a very reliably purple state, but he has not done well in Colorado. I think 538 has his... In fact, let me check. 538 has his odds at 22.6, which is even less than it is nationally. He has a better chance in Pennsylvania than he does in Colorado. And I don't think he's going to win Colorado, and I certainly don't think he's going to win Pennsylvania. Again, his only plausible path to victory are those three states and one other state, and I don't know what that other state's going to be. And I don't think it would be enough. In fact, I can check right now. I actually just checked. If he wins all of those states that I mentioned, so Nevada, North Carolina, Florida, and he pulls through in New Hampshire, he ties to 269 to 269. Then he'd have to win that one congressional district in Maine to put him over the edge. That's his only really plausible path to victory, aside from winning Colorado or Pennsylvania, which I don't think is going to happen, or Minnesota, Wisconsin, or the other swing states that I said we're going to go to Clinton. He'd have to turn one of those. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. I don't see any reliable polling that says he's going to be able to do that. I don't think there's a silent majority large enough. I don't think there's actually a silent majority that supports Trump. So I'm going to call it. I mean, I called it at the beginning of the video, obviously. I'm calling it for Clinton. I think that the numbers are going to be 307 to 231. So sue me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that'll be right. I'll post a map probably for the thumbnail to this video, and at the end if you want to see. I'll probably cut out some of the dead time in this video, but thank you all for watching. If you want to see more analyses, probably shorter than that and more opinion based near the end, which will hopefully be more exciting, subscribe to this channel. This is The Amateur Gamer. This is just a shoddy little video. Don't expect any of this don't expect this camera to be here. Don't expect this mic to be used. This is not going to be a regular thing. This is just something I'm putting together right now because I want to get my record, or get on the record, my analysis of the election before we go into the general tomorrow. I would pit her odds if I had to guess. I'm literally making this up right now. I will put her odds of being president at 75%. At probably at most. I don't think I would put it any more than 75%. But I think I would have 3/4 of a chance of her being president. Far safer odds than betting that Trump would be president. So that just about does it. Thank you all for watching. I am Jordan Rhodes, the Amateur Gamer, also known as Yoshi869. I have too many names. But if you like my voice and you want to hear me actually be entertaining, be sure to subscribe to Yoshi869, the Amateur Gamer, or subscribe to Toads with Boats, which is an affiliate of the Amateur Gamer. We just put leftover shit on there that doesn't make it into this channel, basically. So, yeah, there you go. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time for the facts. Be sure to check out the opinion video, which will be coming out at the same time as this, and the Senate election one, which is the only other analysis video I'm going to be doing. doing so. Thanks! Bye!